What's up, y'all? It is sweltering hot. You know, it's interesting. It doesn't feel this hot out where I live, but I don't live in the middle of a jungle anymore. All this vegetation just traps the humidity. And I've been here for about 10 minutes just getting stuff ready. And already there's just sweat dripping off my elbows, off my nose. And yes, I know I'm wearing 2 shirts, but it's a little bit of a trade-off there. Some briar patches in here and stuff that occasionally have to walk through. And it just helps keep from getting too scratched up. Not doing anything complicated today. Just a little bit of light tackle fishing for whatever bites. It's a specific area I'm looking for that I want to get to on this trail. God, this stuff is thick. Alright, let's try to get through this. Small snake we just walked past. Like just an earth snake. Or maybe a Texas brown snake, I'm not sure. Just caught a glimpse of him. Ah, here we go. You know what? I actually think there's the creek. And what I'm thinking, I might actually just step into it here. It's so shallow, and I do have my boots on. Maybe move across the other side there. Let's try that, shall we? Oh, that was almost a disaster. My foot hung up in got my foot hung up in a vine as I was trying to step off the ledge. Almost ended up going in face first. And I'm just now realizing I forgot our landing net. It's a golf course over there. Oh, cool. So check this out. I don't know if you can make him out through the water there. A really cool looking turtle. I'm guessing a common snapping turtle. Kind of hard to tell. Maybe a soft shell. Oh, it's a soft shell. Oh, yeah. Check that out. That is so cool. There he goes. Look at him. There he is. Just cruising like he owns the place, which he does. Right there. I don't think I want to try to catch him because we don't have a net. It wouldn't be safe to land him for his sake. Look at that carp. See him? That's so neat. Just cruising. Cruising in the shallows. That's cool. Alright. Keep walking. Leave him be. What we're looking for is a patch of water that gets deeper to where the bottom is just slightly clouded or out of view. And I think this spot up here might do nicely. It's a bit of an overhang too. I just saw a small largemouth bass. I'm gonna throw this in front of him. See if we can't get him to strike. Get a first fish of the day on. Okay, there's a small gar hiding in there. Yeah, right there. Lord, I see fish. They're just not going for this jig. Might switch it up in a minute and try a spinner bait. Oh, got a fish, yes. Oh, nice. Finally, he took it on the drop. Took that white jig on the drop. Ah, so much reward, finally. Yes. And that is not a bad fish. Guys, look at that. Look at that jig right in the roof of his mouth. Hook straight up. Do the trick every time. Let's get that hook out. There we go. Curly tail jig with a spinner. Meets bass. Beautiful fish. So happy to have this. Let's try to see if we can get a good camera shot on it. Sometimes the GoPro acts a little funky. Here you have it. Beautiful. Beautiful big fish. You know, respectively speaking, this is not a monster, but maybe 2 pounds, 2-pound bass, 2.5, out of a small creek like this on light tackle. Fantastic. I hope it was on camera, him jumping and flipping out of the water. Oh, it's been so long since I've caught a fish. It's literally been several weeks. For me, that's a lifetime. If you're a fisherman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Beautiful animal. Let's get him back. So pleased to have this. All right, we're just gonna toss him right there as a deep spot. He'll be fine. There he goes. Whoosh. Look at him go. There he is, back to his hiding spot. He's going right back to the same spot we caught him in. This is a good looking spot. Loads of mullet in here, but more importantly, the whole far end of this creek, or far bank to this creek rather, is just this deep embankment that just slopes right off. Deep enough that I can't see to the bottom, which if I was a fish is the kind of spot I would want to hide. Some tires down there, 3 tires that I can see, submerged, good structure. I'm gonna start at this top end and slow retrieve this jig. We may not get anything. I kind of think the bass tend to prefer those overhangs. There aren't really any over here. Just spin this down for a minute. Always worth a shot. Okay, I got a fish following. I had a follow. I had a fish coming after the lure. Didn't take it. Pretty sure it was a cichlid. There's a lot of native cichlids seem to nest in this creek. This is Clear Creek, by the way. It is chock-a-block full of cichlids, which is a good sign for the ecosystem. You have a healthy population of a native species like that, especially a fragile native species. Always a really good thing. We'll retrieve from one end to the other, just see what happens. The thing about cichlids is they can mess with you. If you're not experienced catching them, you'll throw a jig like this in front of them, and they'll chase it, and it looks like you're going to get a hookup, but they're not trying to eat it. They're nesting, and they actually think that's like a rival competition for space, and they're trying to fight it away. And the truth of the matter is they're probably not big enough to take the lure. They're just nipping at it like it's a, the local bully trying to get him to run off. Lots of mullet in here. If I had a cast net, I could pull out several dozen. That is not what we're doing today. My cast net is also in pieces. Do a long cast up that way. You never know where fish might be hiding. Especially if you have a body of water like this creek, or a reservoir, some kind of channel like that, where the water level is constantly fluctuating. You can get big fish in really, really small pockets of water, because what they're doing is they're moving through it. They're hanging out for a while, probably. Okay. As I was talking, a bass took the lure. He dropped it. He's still right in front of me. Oh, and he took it again. Yes! Oh, man, look at that. Beautiful. Anyway, big fish will, they'll hold up in a spot if it's good, and then the water will drop around them. They kind of get stuck there. So never just say, oh, this creek's too shallow, there's nothing in here. Sometimes there's really good fish in here. And that is a good fish. I wish I got that on camera. Could see him. I saw him chase after it and get it. That would have been great. But beautiful, beautiful animal. Let me make sure we're rolling before I put him back. We are indeed rolling. Sometimes the sun gets so hot, it will shut off the camera, and I'll do a whole exposition on a beautiful fish and throw it back before I realize there's nothing on film. Digital. Beautiful. Let's get him back. See if we can get another one. That was great. All right. I think I see a bass. I'm going to pull this lure right across him. Got him. Got him. Got him. Sight casting to bass in a shallow creek. That is great. I don't know if that'll be the title of this video, but it's what we're doing. It is what we are up to right now. That might actually be the same fish. It's hard to tell because that first fish I hooked back here and I can't see the mark, but it's about the same size. He was in the same spot. It's very possibly the same fish. Beautiful animal. Let's get him back. Just kind of, I like throwing fish, but can't reach the water. There we go. He's good. All right, guys, look right there. It's a big catfish. It's a big catfish on top of the water. So unusual. I'm going to see if we can get him with this lure. Pull it right past him. Nope. Scared him a little bit. Oh, I really want to get him now. Sight casting to a catfish is not something you get to do a lot. You know, not here in Texas. Maybe if you're in the UK or Spain or something. Oh, he's not taking it. Oh, man. That was so cool looking. Okay, let's move further down. I really, really want him now. Now that I've seen him, and he's turned me down, I gotta have it. And that philosophy, guys, just applies to fish. I couldn't tell, it was either a channel or a blue. It looked like a big channel. But you know what? I think we can draw him out because I brought just the thing for catfish today. In fact, let's go ahead and get it. Now that I know he's here, I know he's hiding somewhere in here. I think he's up in that embankment. Let's break out the rig we brought for the catfish. I'm just gonna use that center pin right there. Handy dandy center pin. I love this thing. It's actually a cheap fly reel. It came with my fly rod. The rod was the purchase. The reel was just kind of like an extra to get you to purchase the reel. Like, I think it was the Orvis Encounter 9-weight or something like that. Combo pack. Orvis Encounter reel, the Orvis Encounter rod is great. The reel, you know, I think it's plastic. I don't think it's graphite. It has a little bit of a flex in it, so I didn't want to put it on a nice fly rod, but it sure works great on this ugly stick for, you know, catfish and carp and stuff like that. You don't need nothing fancy if the fish you're catching aren't fancy. All right, that is like catfish heaven right there. This is like 5-star Michelin starred restaurant quality catfish bait right there. I think what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna put a long trace between the float and the sinker, because I don't want the float to suspend the bait. I want the bait to sit on the bottom, and I just want the float to be, what is it you fancy fly fishermen say? A sight indicator? It's not a float, it's a sight indicator. Yeah. That floats and tells you when the bait's going under. Bullseye. Bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Good thing about this one, too, is I can just set it right here. As long as I make sure there's no tangles in the line, catfish starts moving around with that. Not only will I see the float out there, but I'll actually hear the reel going off. Think we got him, guys. Think we got him. The float went under, we had a run, and suddenly it just stopped. What happened? What just happened? If that float starts moving against the current, I know he's on. Are you on? Are you there? Sometimes catfish like to take a bait and then sit with it. Oh, looky here. Interesting development. Or rather, interesting lack of a development. It's arrested development. No, what might have happened is a catfish, he might be wary, he might be onto us, ran with that, panicked and dropped it, or it could have been something else like a carp or maybe even a bass. There we go, right in that deep spot, in that overhang. That is a good spot. Love this 3-pin reel. It's one of my absolute... We already on the move? Something already has it? Really? Something already has it, guys. I want to see how he treats it, though. If he can't take that float under, if he can't move around with that thing with confidence, it might just be a sunfish playing with it. Okay, I think it's a bass. Yep, what do we got here? What do we have? What do we got? What do we got? Oh, it's a cichlid. It's a little Texas cichlid. Look at the size of the hook that he ate. Whoops, dropped him. Look at that. Beautiful fish, really. These things are lovely. Just magnificent looking animals. That hook is way too big for your mouth. How did you even manage that? It's my catfish hook, son. Oh, no, no, no. He dropped himself on the bank and I can't find him. There he goes. Okay, he's in the water. There we go. Beautiful stream. So many clamshells, though. And the occasional golf ball. Really nice. The further down the park you go, the deeper it does tend to get. I think we're gonna hop out here. I don't want to stray too far from the car. What I think we'll do is we'll jump out here, get back in the car, drive down to the deeper area. Drive down to the deeper area and fish that. Because one thing I don't like doing, although, you know, it tends to happen, just we get careless, we get carried away, don't we, guys? You just start fishing, you start walking, and the next thing you know, you're like, where's the car? It's like, oh, it's 400 yards that way. Let's go through here. I'm gonna crawl up through that. I can see the park rail. I know where we're at now that I can see that, because that only extends so far. Let's go. All right, we made it through the jungle, back up top. We're gonna go get some water. You know, if there's one thing I've learned, and I've learned more than one thing, but if there's one thing I've learned for sure, having spent a couple of years in you know, the safety industry, it's that the heat will sneak up on you. You try to play games with it or go tit for tat with the sun, it will win every time. It's undefeated. So we're gonna go get some water. And then after we have a nice drink of water, cool off in the air conditioning for a minute, I'm gonna drive down, try another spot that I've fished a couple of times on this channel before. It's always been quite reliable for small bass and catfish, and gar and carp for that matter too. You know that scene in Jeremiah Johnson where he's trying to catch salmon and he can't? And it's the first time he sees, I can't remember the name of the character. The Native American chief that he meets later in the film. I can't remember his name. The guy, he says you fish poorly. Anyway, that waterfall, that icy little stream with that little trickling icy waterfall that he's flailing around in, the point of that scene is that he's freezing and starving and he's ill-equipped to survive out there. When I feel like this, that's what I imagine. And guys, come on, I'm seeing myself in the car now. The next time I'm walking around looking like Tommy Wiseau, you gotta say something. Can't have that. Good grief. I did not hit her, I did not! All right, off we go. That is the sound. Takes me back to my childhood. That kind of creaky, rusty swing set noise. That. Go. This dead tree up here always marks my entry point. I like to come up right alongside this ditch here. Fall down. There's so many things to keep in mind, like, is the camera level? Am I gonna fall down? Am I gonna get my fishing rods caught in the tree behind me? Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. There's the creek behind us, guys. See through the trees there. Wonderful stuff, luckily in this spot. The bank isn't a sheer drop. And oddly enough, there never seems to be an overgrowth of weeds. I think the spot does get used a little bit as a trail. You know, maybe other fishermen coming down here like me. Yeah, clearly somebody's beer bottle. That's how I know you've been here. Now, I saw somebody say once, and I think this is a very good point. If you're bass fishing, and this can apply to more than just bass, but he was talking specifically about bass. He said if you're bass fishing, start close and then go out. There's no reason to assume that the bass are just going to be far from you. Oh, nope, that's a stickfish. That's a snagfish. But anyway, he was saying start close. The idea being if you hook a bass out. I don't know what that was. I'll have to go back and review that. I just saw the fish go down again. Maybe a carp, maybe a gar. But anyway, that proves the point. There's fish out there and there's fish in close. And if you catch the fish far from you first, you scare all the fish in close as you bring it in. So start close, then go far. All right, guys, we had a strong hit and a miss right underneath these overhangs. So let's try to cast it back again. It grabbed the tail of that jig. Oh, what do we got here? Crappie. Nice looking fish. Small one, but hey, beautiful is beautiful. And look at that. Oh, beautiful fish. Love it. Let me make sure we're rolling. Yep, we're rolling. What a fish, guys. What a good looking fish. Tiny, but beautiful. Love the colors on a crappie. Let's put him back. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Threw out a worm under a float. I'm pretty sure we have a good carp on the line. Oh, he's really big. He's actually a really good carp. Good common. Yeah, look at him. Look at him. I'm not gonna lose this one because I've got, oh, he's big. I've got 15-pound line on here, thinking, you know, we might have to deal with the pads of a catfish. Carp picked up that worm. He's giving me a run. Giving me a run around. Just tire him out a little bit because I don't have a net. I'm gonna have to kind of tire him out, kind of pull him in, and scoop him up by hand. Woo! Putting up a fight. Let's get the main camera on him. Whew. All right, we got a carp on the line, guys. Kind of surprising he took a worm under a float. I guess you got to eat what you can while you can. Walk him over here. I'm gonna have to scoop him out by hand. I don't have a net with me. Pretty big. Corner hook too. Pleased with that. I was kind of worried we were gonna have to forceps and go deep, but I think we can get this guy. Got this camera on. I'm not gonna take him out. I'm just gonna use the forceps, get that hook out. Just let him swim away. He's been good enough to us already. Just make sure we get that camera down there on him. Beautiful fish, beautiful fish. Look at him. Just gorgeous. Get this out of the way. Wonderful colors. There he is. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful carp. Absolutely lovely fish. Oh, he's so pretty. Go. Gotcha. Oh, like I said, I wasn't going for carp. If I was, I would have made this barbless and crushed down the little bait holders. But at least we didn't have to take him out of the water. That's always a good thing when you don't have a net. Don't pull carp out of the water unless you have a good net. All right, here's what I think we will do. Just float a worm underneath that thicket there, by that tree. See if anyone comes up and takes it. We'll make that the last fish of the day, should we get something. Like I said before, a lot of success with channel catfish in that spot. Although, would you call it success if I wasn't trying to catch them? A lot of annoyance with channel catfish in that spot. Today, that is what I'm trying to get in just a moment, so more than likely they will be nowhere to be found. But these center pin reels are just great for this type of fishing, float fishing on a stream, because you can just let the line spool off. We're close enough that I don't have to do that. Let it sit right there. There we go, that's close enough. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? Tiny little guy. You greedy fish. Look at you. Oh, he's just flopping everywhere. Look at this. Come here. Look at the size of the hook that fish took in his mouth. That entire worm was going down. And a hook as big as his head. Why do you do this? Making me look like an idiot. Beautiful fish. Ugh. Okay. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fish. Really pretty. Nice native cichlid. Just Just love those big flared pectoral fins they have. Just really lovely animal. Tiny little guy. Like I said, Clear Creek is full of them. Let's keep it full of them. Put him back. Let's call it a day. Yeah.